Right, so we have a revolution. Yes, a revolution in front end. Well, maybe.
Command AI.
It is a very promising library. I have crawled through depth of hell to bring you, for the foreseeable years, one of the more important foundational pieces of UI engineering, if not in implementation, then certainly at least in concept. Fast, accurate, and comprehensive userland text measurement algorithm in pure TypeScript, usable for laying out entire web pages without CSS, bypassing DOM measurements and reflow. So, when you have bodies of text on a web page, the DOM has to measure the length of the text, the width, the height, where the text breaks, and all the measurements for where these pixels should go. So what he has done is bypassing the DOM and bringing us like text layout that you can use with this library at 120 frames per second. Let's, before going into his use cases, let's show what people have building with it. So this is one of them, and we can actually test
That's
it.
the one that turned it for me. It was quite cool.
Yeah. So none of these are things that we couldn't do before, just to be clear. It's that we can do them now with accuracy and performance without using the DOM calculation. So right now the DOM doesn't need to calculate where the text goes. It's all done with this library. It is extremely fast and accurate and performative. So here we see a masonry layout with hundreds, if not thousands of, probably thousands of text boxes, again, at 120 FPS. Why does this matter? This matters because when you have a layout such as this, how do you define how big the scroll amount is? How do you define where, when you scroll, when does the computer starts rendering, the browser starts rendering the next? Do you render everything and show it? That would mean you need to have a lot of rendering to do. But if you don't do it, then how do you guess the height? You can't. So you can't unless you do the rendering, which is really performance intensive, even though it is text, but it is performance intensive. But now he does it with something like this, which is so impressive. This is impressive, especially like imagine with the interfaces we have. I don't know if you have noticed it or not, but even in ChatGPT, if you have a long conversation, it becomes extremely laggy. It becomes so laggy to just scroll. It is partially because of the browser is trying to understand the height of this text, and especially if you resize things, the browser has to calculate everything again. But this bypasses that DOM calculation entirely. Here, there is this really interesting example, and this is where my brain broke for a second. I was doing this, and I was thinking, like, why can't you do this with CSS text pretty?
Sure.
Again, I'm not the developer here. So I was looking at precisely, let me show you. Look at this. Oh, wait, it handles this, this text. This is done with Pretext. This is done with CSS. And I was like, why can't you do this with CSS text pretty? You can do this. But I was completely forgetting, or like I didn't understand before testing it. I did start testing it. You can break the lines and have the text to look like this with text wrap pretty, but you don't know the box size. Like you cannot make the box size to be what the text inside is. With CSS, it's not aware of that. So you have a lot of wasted pixels. You have this layout with this wasted pixels, where with Pretext, it's all calculated. And by the way, he did this by doing tons of calculations with agents running on multiple browsers for multiple weeks. So that's also quite impressive. And here is another use case. And a lot of people, by the way, so far you probably see this and you're like, why are you making text unreadable? That's not the point. It's not about making it unreadable. It's about creating any layout with like high performance without the need to do all that calculation, all that measurement. All of this is just a showcase of what is possible. We have another cool showcases before I read that one. So here we have a 3D model that is moving and doing all the recalculations automatically. Again, these are not practical things. These are more like the just to showcase the performance. I found this tweet also explaining it fairly well. So let's go through it. Let me explain the importance of this. An engineer solved a problem that's been plaguing the internet for 3 decades. Every website you've ever used relies on a text layout system from the 1990s. The browser loads a font, measures text, figures out where lines break, and positions everything vertically. Every step depends on the previous one. Every step forces the browser to pause and recalculate. You felt this problem plenty times before, even if you didn't know what caused it. Slack's scroll jumping when message heights are wrong. Google Docs getting slow on long documents because every keystroke recalculates everything below your cursor. AI chat apps getting junky when streaming because each new token can cause a line wrap that shifts the entire page. Same root cause every damn time. Text measurement is locked inside the browser's DOM. It's slow and there's been no alternative for 30 damn years. Pretext bypasses all of it. Pure TypeScript text measurement, no DOM, no CSS, no browser reflow. You give it text, a font, and a width. It returns exact line breaks, width, and height using pure math. Around 500 times faster in many cases than the standard approach. Supports every language, that's very interesting, including mixed bidirectional text. I do this all the time, by the way. I do this all the time in my texting. And it's broken. This is broken on every single app ever. CJK, I don't know what that means. Arabic and emojis. The engine is 15 kilobytes, built and validated by running Claude code and codecs against browser ground truth for weeks. The demos are wild. Hundreds of thousands of text boxes virtualized at 120 frames per second, no DOM measurement. Shrink-wrapped chat bubbles with 0 wasted pixels, something CSS literally cannot do. Responsive multicolumn magazine layout that reflow dynamically, variable font, ASCII art. Just a byproduct of this, you can do ASCII art with variable font. Over the years, developers moved rendering to canvas, scrolling to custom implementation, positioning to JS. But text was the one thing you couldn't move out of the browser. It was the last piece locked inside of the DOM with no alternative. Now we have a solution. This was built by Chang Lu, one of the foundational developers behind React, Facebook Messenger, and Midjourney. He's not just anyone, lol. If you build anything on the web, this now changes what literally possible. This unlocks new UI patterns, layout interfaces, and experiences like we've never seen before. Go look at the demos in the quote post It's open source, npm install, insane. These are all running in a browser. The future of design is still to come. Yeah, this is very optimistic. This is saying it is going to be huge, and the examples people are making are big.
This is part of a larger conversation on my show, Command AI, which we stream live every single week. We discuss the news and all things related to AI in the world of design and web. Catch us next week and join in the banter.
Command AI.